Hi friends, today we are going to discuss yet another design pattern called anti-corruption design pattern or anti-corruption layer pattern. So what does this anti-corruption layer pattern do? For example, you have a legacy service which has been running some legacy code or application and you want to integrate a new service with this legacy application, or let's say you have a use case of migrating this legacy service application functionality to a new service. So what are the design challenges that you're going to encounter? First of all, everyone wants to design their new service in a pristine and well-defined manner so that it can live up to its expectation, it can remain bug-free, and it has a scalable and flexible architecture. But whenever you are integrating with legacy service, you have to understand that there are going to be legacy interactions. There are going to be interactions which may or may not interact in legacy fashion. So let's try to see what are the different difficulties we may face when we are integrating a new service with the legacy service. So first of all, we have to make design compromises when we are directly integrating legacy new service with the legacy service. For example, there may be design patterns that have been followed. There can be design considerations that have to be followed, keeping in mind compatibility with the legacy service. Other use cases are, for example, let's say this API, this legacy service has only supports SOAP implementation. And since most of the internet is now using REST APIs or REST communication, then directly integrating these two services is going to create a burden on the architecture side or on the design side to accommodate bad choices or legacy choices. Besides that, when we have to make a lot of compromises for integrating with this legacy service, it is going to create clutter. It is going to create mess in the new application. Besides that, it can be using legacy protocols, as we have seen that SOAP is a legacy protocol which uses XML for communication, and now most of the internet is using JSON for communication. So directly having these implementation inside your new application is going to create challenges, as well as it is going to make your total life of your new service less. So let's try to see another thing. How or in which scenarios are we going to face these design considerations? For example, there's a legacy application and you are basically migrating this legacy application from, let's say, SOAP to REST services. Okay, so this is one of the case in which you may want to have a new service interact with the legacy service. Another scenario is when we want to create a new service, and but we want to keep some legacy functionalities up and running with little or no uh, confirmation whether we are going to keep supporting the legacy implementations or not. So these are the scenarios in which you will face when you are integrating with the legacy service. So to deal with these dilemmas regarding designing your new application, what you can do is create a facade or an adapter through which your new service is going to interact with the legacy service. So all the bad design or all the legacy design decisions can be taken in this layer, and it can act as an adapter for new service to interact with the legacy service. For example, let's say this API is interacting on SOAP. SOAP is in the old interaction format, and this API. So new service can interact with anti-corruption layer on the REST in the REST format, and the anti-corruption layer is then going to do its work, and it is going to call the legacy service in the format in which it understands. So all the design compromises can be kept limited to this layer, and new service can be created with better design decisions. So another advantage of having an anti-corruption layer is, for example, if you want to have another service which wants to interact with legacy service, so these design compromises can be kept limited to the anti-corruption layer, and this service is going to interact with it is going to be a single point of interaction with the legacy service, so that it can be moved slowly and steadily. Besides that, this implementation can be in the form of module inside your main service. For example, this is your legacy service and this is your main service or new service. So your application can have a module which interacts with legacy system. So your main application does not need to know the implementation, and the anti-corruption layer can be a module, or it can be a separate service. It can also be a separate service, so that your application can interact with the anti-corruption layer, and then anti-corruption layer is going to interact with the legacy service. The use case which you're going to follow for having a separate service, so this is a separate service, and in this case you're having a library or a module embedded in your main application or new application, so that your new application is not having design implications due to legacy implementation, and it is going to keep your code clean. So there are downsides of having this anti-corruption layer. First of all, the very obvious downside is it is going to increase latency. Latency is going to increase. Another downside is, how are you going to manage this anti-corruption layer? So it is going to need deployment. It is also going to need resources. And what is going to be the life of this anti-corruption layer? Is it going to be a permanent component in your ecosystem, or is it just required for during the time of migration? For example, you're migrating some functionalities. For example, earlier you had only legacy system, and then you created your new system, and all the APIs are coming to this. Some of the APIs are returned from the new service only, and the APIs or functionality that has yet not been implemented can be proxied via anti-corruption layer to the legacy service, and slowly and steadily these functionalities also can be migrated from legacy service to a new service. There are other considerations with respect to anti-corruption layer. So for example, if your application is going to see a high amount of load, how is this application going to scale? What are going to be scalability bottlenecks? Since it is yet another component in your application ecosystem, you need to have a strong monitoring around this, because it is a single point of interaction between your new system and legacy system. Besides that, what you have to do is your traffic is coming to your new service, and it is being proxied to legacy service using the anti-corruption layer. How are you going to plan its release? For example, the code needs to be sent here. How are you going to send its release? How are you going to integrate it with the release for new systems? And if you are still sending deployments or code changes for legacy system, how are you going to integrate deployment for these three systems? Besides that, another point to consider is, for example, let's say your anti-corruption layer you can have multiple anti-corruption layers for different types of application. For example, let's say you have some application, new service, and which wants to interact with the legacy service. So you need to send data to legacy service via ACL, anti-corruption layer. There can be another service which needs another type of interaction between legacy and new system. Let's say it is on some other protocol. Then you may or may not need another anti-corruption layer which can interact with new service for yet another new service. So you may or may not need multiple anti-corruption layers, and anti-corruption layers, as we've already discussed, may not be just different services. They can be modules inside the single service. For example, let's say you have a Python new service in Python, you have a new service in Python, then you have to write an anti-corruption layer in Python language, and let's say you have another new service which is written in Golang, then it needs to have Go libraries for anti-corruption layer, which are going to interact with your legacy service. Though codes are going to be cleaner for your actual services, anti-corruption layer in the form of modules are going to be written multiple times, may need to be written multiple times, because you can handle this type of use cases for with common protocols. For example, both language can interact with a single anti-corruption layer written in maybe REST. So it all depends on how you are designing, what are the different design decisions that you have to take to keep your service up and running in the most flexible architecture possible. So that is all for the anti-corruption layer. Please let me know if you have any doubts regarding it. We can discuss it in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.